Hey everyone, Mel Abraham here. Good Monday afternoon. All right. I don't know where the day went. Hey, I just want to jump in here. One, I wanted to answer a question that was sent to me, but I also wanted to kind of see where you're at. What's going on in your world, how things are going, and how'd the weekend go for you? We are under lockdown. They, in fact, just now shut down and locked our hiking paths and our beaches because people were not respecting the lockdown orders. So they have closed some more things, and it is what it is. This is the world we're in right now. It's something that probably none of us ever expected, never dreamt that would happen in our lifetime, and may never happen again. But this is where we find us, and the interesting question that I think we need to think through on this is, because look, we've got a choice in this process, and it may feel like we don't have a lot of choices, but we have a choice in this process, and that choice is, do you want to just crawl up in the corner in a fetal position and just hope that it all goes away, which it will, but you won't be along for the ride. I mean, you'll have been beaten up in the process. Or do you want to make a different choice? Because here's what I know. The fact of the matter is that it's not about what is going on that really starts to drive everything. It's truly about who do you want to become in the process of going through this. We all start to go through some of this. We're all dealing with similar things at different levels, whether it's financial discord, whether it's relational discord, whether it's isolation. All of those things are happening in our life. Yep, I love the hearts. I love the thumbs up. Thank you. If you know of someone that is struggling with this, do me a favor. Let's share this out. Let's keep people moving forward in a positive direction. Here's how I think that we ought to start looking at things. We'll talk about some of the intents that you have. We'll talk a little bit about, should we be selling in today's time and all that. But I think the first thing to understand is this. Is that, and this is, John Maxwell said this, and I'll paraphrase it, but he would always speak, and he would put his arm up, and he would say, everything you want is uphill. Everything you want is everything you want is at the top of the mountain. Here's the deal. Everything you want is at the top of the mountain. Everything you want is going to take effort. Everything you want is going to take pressure. You're going to need to hike that mountain. It's just, there's no way above it. I mean, if everything you want's up there, we got to go up the mountain. The problem is that we want to live down here in our comfort zone, and we got to get out of that comfort zone. We've got to start climbing the mountain. Here's what shifted. The mountain just got steeper. That's all that happened. Everything you want is still ahead of you. Everything you want is still out there. Everything you want is still at the top of the mountain. You just got to a steep part of the mountain. We just got to climb harder. We got to climb stronger. We got to climb more consistently in the process. That's all it is. We are a resilient people. You are a resilient people. You are a resilient person. The question is, who do you want to become in this process? When we take, I was doing an interview this morning, and one of the things that brought this up was in order for us to grow muscle, in order for us to gain strength, what do we need to do? We need to put resistance against it. We need to put pressure against it. We need to push forward through the sets. Right now, I do all my workouts at home. In fact, I just got new gym equipment because I have gym equipment. I can't go to the gym. So when we want to grow, we need to push against the resistance. And that resistance right now may be internal, may be us thinking, and maybe our heart is sitting back saying, I don't know if I got this in me. This is crazy. And it may be society and media and everything else. We need to push against that resistance. We need to push through that resistance, because that resistance is what's going to create the muscle that's going to allow you to grow on the other side of that soreness, on the other side of that fighting back is who you become in the process. You have an opportunity right now, because crisis builds character. Crisis will build character. And character is who you are to everyone. It's how you're seen. I used to tell the kids at the karate school, I used to say, there's two things you need to figure out. And I tell the same things to my executives that I coach, the businesses that I'm sitting on boards of, and we got to ask ourselves two things. What am I going to stand for, and how am I going to show up? And more than ever in any time in our lives, those two questions matter more than you could ever imagine. The question you got to ask yourself, what are you going to stand for, and how are you going to show up during this time? For your family, for yourself, for your spouse, for your children, for the society, for the community. Who are you? Because in this time you get a chance to decide and establish who you are going to be in the next decade. The question of who you are, and how you're going to show up becomes huge, because that becomes the identity for you in the next decade. Now you have the choice, like I said. You can be that person that's identified in crawling in the fetal position. Now, trust me, there's plenty of times I have thought about it on my journey, and there's plenty of times that I've done it temporarily, and that is okay, but we're not going to live there. We're going to get up, we're going to get strong, and we're going to move through it. We're going to see ourselves to the other side. Einstein said this. He said, in the middle of difficulty is opportunity. The key word in there is in the middle. See, we are just starting out this journey, but somewhere in the middle, if you pay attention, there's opportunity. Now, that opportunity is for you to grow. That opportunity is for you to see new seeds of wisdom. That opportunity is for you to see new directions in your life. That opportunity is for you to look at, maybe reflect on what you've done in the past and say, how can I do that differently in the future? What do I want differently in the future? This is an amazing time in one sense. I mean, it's a challenging time for certain, but it's an amazing time in the sense that we are being forced to completely clear the tables. We can't go on the streets. We can't interconnect. We're confined. We're quarantined. We're siloed. So you get to clear the tables for a moment. And now you get a chance to redefine your life. At what point would you have ever slowed down for a moment to say, I get a chance to redefine my life, to take the time to step back and say, what do I want my life to be in this next decade? What do I want it to be when I get past all of what I'm going through right now? Is it even possible? Now, I get it. We could find ourselves in a situation, you might be in this too, where you're sitting back saying, Mel, I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to make my mortgage payment. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to make my rent. And you're worried about what's on the other side of this? Listen, I get that. And we can deal with that. We can move through that. There's programs that they're starting to work on, to put out, to defer mortgage payments, to negotiate rents. And if it were me, the first thing I would do is get on the phone with these folks and start having conversations that are meaningful conversations about what you can co-create together as a solution so you can move past this. But you're not going to live in a situation permanently where you're not paying your bills. This is temporary. This too will pass. We will get through this, and it will pass. Here's what we have. We have a health problem, the coronavirus, that created an economic problem. The dump in the markets, if you will. But here's the thing, that we've seen corrections in the markets before. We've seen bear markets before. We've seen that before. What we haven't seen, which is unprecedented, is the speed in which it declined. I mean, it declined extremely fast, and that was part of the health problem that came upon us so fast. This whole idea of the coronavirus. So the real issue is that when we start to solve a couple things, one, we get the coronavirus under check, then we can get our economic legs back underneath us. It's not necessarily permanent. Will we have recovery to do? Yes. Will it leave a mark? Absolutely. Can you be scarred by it? Yes, if you allow yourself, because watch what happens. Health problem created an economic problem. Now we get siloed. Now we might get laid off. We might have financial issues. And that leads to an emotional problem. The emotional problem is the hardest one for us to solve, because we need to solve that emotional problem before we can solve the economic and health problem. Let's say we get coronavirus out of there. We got to make sure that you're strong emotionally. We got to make sure that you've got this thing together, that you realize that where you are today isn't where you'll be a year from now, isn't where you'll be 3 months from now. And so the question is, how are you going to show up in this process of this journey that we're on? What does that look like? Take the time. A couple things that I'm going to give you right now, and then I want to answer a question that came in because I promised him that I would. What you do in the times of difficulty, what you do in the times of challenge are what will define who you will be in the next decade. So what you do in these next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 90 days, 120 days will define you for the next decade. And I don't mean that it defines your life, but what I mean is that if you've wanted to do something new, if you wanted to stand for something bigger, if you've wanted to do something different, now's the time. Now's the time to take it on. Now's the time to look at it. Now's the time to say, how can I show up differently? How can I be more? How can I do this? Not just for yourself, but for everyone around you, because people are watching. Your ability to stand up and walk the path, your ability to power through it, your ability to push through it, is going to be contagious to those that maybe are having a problem. Those that maybe right now are curled up in the fetal position in the corner, that they get a chance to see you get up and dust yourself off. You know, in 2009, I had a bike accident. So I was riding down a hill. I was on the road, and I was wearing regular tennis shoes because I was riding to the gym, and my shoelace got caught in the sprocket, and the bike flipped, and I came down on my head. So I was knocked unconscious. I had grade 4 concussion. I was having problems speaking. I was stuttering. I was in a neck brace. I didn't have any feeling on the right side. And at that time, I still had my martial arts studio, and my assistant came up to me and he said, "Are you coming down to the studio? Because you might scare the kids." And I said, no, I'm coming down to the studio. He says, "You sure you don't want to wait till you're fully healed?" And I said, no. I said, the greater lesson for the kids is for them to see me fight back. And the greatest lesson that you can give to those around you, your loved ones, your children, your spouse, your friends, the community, is for them to see you get up, dust yourself off, and fight back. It's going to take a little bit. I get it. But you're not alone. And we get a chance to ask each other for help. We get a chance to work with each other. We get a chance to do these things together to move ourselves through it and move through it that way. And we get a chance to redefine our lives. This is a beautiful opportunity for you to reflect and say, what are the things that you have in your life that maybe you don't want anymore? What are the things that you want in your life that you haven't had in your life? Let's get those things back in place. Here's where I want you to think about. I think that now more than ever is the time to be intentional in every aspect of your life. So ask yourself a couple questions. And these are the intentions that I think you need to think about. You might want to write these down. All right. So the question the first thing is, are you being intentional with your emotions? Emotionally, how you show up. You know, when you wake up in the morning, look, I get it. There's pressure, there's strain, there's frustration. You can wake up angry, you can wake up happy, you can wake up, joyful, you can wake up with gratitude. Are you being intentional with that, or are you just going with the flow? Because here's what's going to happen. If you're spending your time listening to the media, the thing that they call news, I don't think it's news, but that's a conversation for another time. But if you're spending your time feeding your brain with that, how do you think that your emotions are going to be? So what I would look at is start asking myself, what kind of emotions do I want to live with emotionally? Because that's going to have an impact on you internally. That's going to have an impact on how you show up externally. That's going to have an impact on the things you do and the energy you bring to the things that you do. So first intention is being really clear about how you are emotionally. The second intention is, and this is near and dear to my heart, y'all know it, but it's being intentional from a financial standpoint. Knowing specifically, if you're not one of those that says, "Hey, I'm not a numbers person," or I'm not a I don't do budgets. And I go, oh, fine, let's not do budgets. I get it. Budgets and diets, they don't feel good. But let's do a plan. Let's create a strategy. Let's do something. Because here's the one thing I do know. I absolutely do know. And that is this. Your financial freedom and liberation, your wealth is on the other side of a math problem. What I mean by that is that if you're not willing and prepared to do some math, you're not willing and prepared to do the things that are going to give you the financial liberation you so desire. And the math's not hard. We just got to understand it. And we got to do that and do it regularly. So be intentional with your finances. Be intentional with your financial decisions right now, especially. Are there things that I should be cutting out? Are there things that I should be stopping? Are there things I should be starting? Should I be trimming back? Should I change those things? Looking at every little line item and scrutinizing it and saying yes or no. Do I negotiate? Should I be getting on the phone? And I think the answer is, should I be getting on the phone to negotiate with my credit cards that I have credit card balances with, or my lenders that I have loan balances? And the answer is absolutely yes. It can't hurt if we get them to drop the payments without affecting your credit score or anything like that. It only helps. So if you need that breathing room, let's be intentional financially. Which also means that I want you to get a really, really vivid and clear picture of what your financial world should look like in 10 years. I know we're in the middle of it now, but let's give you something to aspire to, because in 10 years, a lot changes. In 10 years, a lot changes. It's been 15 years, okay? And 15 years ago, I was hit with that Ponzi scheme. I got into the investment. I made the decisions. I lost 1/3 of everything I owned. 15 years later, had I laid in that corner in a fetal position, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be having these conversations. I wouldn't be living the life I'm living. Now, I had a why. Just because, trust me, I went through my downtimes. I had a why, and that why was a little boy that was, well, he wasn't so little at the time, but it was my son, because I was a single full-time dad. And I looked at him and I said, I know he's watching. And I know that if he watches me curl up when adversity hits, that's what he's going to do when it hits him in his life. And so how you respond becomes truly, truly important. So that's the second intention. The third intention is this, is have an intention for your growth and learning. This is a wonderful time. Hey there, Jen. This is a wonderful time for you to grow. What are the key things I was just having this conversation on the interview, to look at it and say, if you're here and you want to move here, there's a gap. That gap is your skill gap. What things do you need to learn to become the person that you want to be on the other side of this challenge that we're in? If you say, I want to have my online business running, I want to be a speaker, I want to be a coach, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to have a new business, then great. What is the skill gap that you can use this time to close? What things do you need to learn? Who do you need to get introduced to? Who can you have a conversation with? Where can you learn? What books should you be reading? So be intentional with your growth and your learning. Next, and this should have probably been at the top, but be intentional with your relations. Okay? Because you know what? Your spouse, your significant other, your children, everyone this is unknown territory. We've never been in this kind of situation. And so you're not in alone. And if we're not intentional with the relationships that we create and how we create them, we potentially put them at risk. I think not just the media, but the movies, that they do a disservice to this. I mean, you watch a movie and these two, the man and the woman, they fall in love, and it just seems so freaking easy. It just flows. It's like, hey, they meet, they fall in love within 90 minutes of a movie. They're married happily ever after. I mean, it's crazy. But it gives us the impression that relationships should just be organic and it should just be so easy. But relationships are not. And relationships are intentional, and relationships require us to nurture them and feed them and help each other with them and decide, Stephanie and I decide, what kind of relationship do we want? How do we want to treat each other? What does it look like? And be really intentional with that relationship, with your kids, with your spouse, with your significant other, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever is your family. Be intentional with it and make the decisions that really, really make the relationship a reality. Then 2 other things. Be intentional with your fitness and your health. It's really easy to allow the nerves, the confinement, all this stuff to get to you and find yourself running to the pantry all the time, going to the refrigerator. You know what? You open the refrigerator door 12 times a day, there's the same stuff in there, and you're not going to find anything different. Why do you keep going to it? Being really disciplined about your fitness. I work out pretty much every day, and once I knew the gym was taken away from me, I ordered the equipment. I got it all. It's all in the other room. But I haven't told Stephanie that I put it in the other room. It just got here today, so I'm gonna have to kind of break the news to her easy that I put it all in the house and not the garage. So I'm working out every day. It's a different workout. Totally different, but I'm staying on top of it because I know that my health and my fitness and my vibrancy is going to affect my emotions, my relationships, how I show up, and everything else. This is a time not only to avoid the virus, but a time to maybe take the time to look at it and say, are there things I can do to become even more healthy on the other side of this? And then last is this. Be intentional with your thinking. What's going on in here? What are you thinking about? What are you feeding it? What are the things that you're reading or watching? I mean, are you spending a lot of time doing Netflix? Are you spending a lot of time watching news channels? Are you spending a lot of time on the internet reading stuff that you don't know if it's true or not, but because it's on the internet, you think it is? Or are you spending a lot of time taking the time to think about what is meaningful to you, to think about your content, to think about your journey, think about your life, think about the things that you want to contribute to. If you're in this expert space or you're an entrepreneur, thinking about how you're going to serve your customers and do some more deep thinking about making that happen more appropriately. So from an intention standpoint, emotional, financial, growth and learning, relational, fitness and health, and thinking. We start to get those dialed in. When you come through the other side of this, life's going to be very, very different because you'll have decided what it's going to look like on the other side. And I promise there is another side to this. There is another side to this, and we will move through it. So I hope that helps for you to start to put some things in perspective. I did get one question I do want to answer. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Started my business back in 2007. Listen, this is a perfect time to start. Thank you, Amber. So this question came in from Tommy Richmond. He said, "Hey Mel, quick question. How do you sell personal development courses, niches too broad, positioning yourself as a career coach?" This is an interesting question, especially in the time we're in. But I think let's just talk about this whole idea of selling in this time, because I hear a whole lot of people saying, "Oh, how dare you sell in this time?" And it's not that you're selling. It's how you're selling. Because if we're truly serving people, then just like I'm doing now, this is all free. In fact, I'm looking at possibly doing a full training, a webinar, a Zoom call with a bunch of people on inviting everyone and anyone that wants to come for 45 minutes or an hour on Thursday, probably just to train and answer questions and help. So I'll probably put something out for that, watch for that. But here's what I mean by this: is that when we talk about serving, anything that we do, the reason I do the things I do is not because I'm trying to sell anything, because the Lord knows I don't really need to sell. The reason I do the things I do is because I want to serve. I want to make a difference. The reason people buy from you is because they want what you have to make a difference in their life. And if what you have can help them through this time, if what you have can serve them and get them through this time in a better way, then why are we not offering it? The issue isn't that you're selling. The issue is when you're selling it wrong. And what do I mean by that? I mean that there are those that are totally gonna take advantage of this situation, and that's not you, because most of those people will never ever follow me, because I'll beat them down pretty quickly. The fact is that most everyone that follows me is coming from a place of service. It's coming from a place of leadership. It's coming from a place of helping people and making a difference in people's lives. And now more than any other time, people need that. So we shouldn't be withholding it. Should we be selling everything? No. We can do things like I'm doing for free to serve and support. Those that want to go deeper can still go deeper. The question is how you're messaging it. Realize this, that when we're trying to sell, what Dean Jackson said, you need to enter I think it was Dean Jackson, you need to enter the conversation that's going on in your customer's mind. Well, guess what? The conversation that's going on in their mind changed a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So if you're going out and trying to sell in the way you sold 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, that's why it feels sleazy, because you're completely insensitive to where they are today. If you have something that serves, if you have something that makes a difference, you can have the conversation with them and have it at where they're at in a way that is meaningful, where they feel understood, where they feel served. And if they choose to move along with you, they can move along with you and go from there, and allow them to make that choice. But I don't want to see you folding up everything and saying, I'll just wait till this is over, because by that time the train's left the station. You have an opportunity to serve people that need service now. Whether you're doing it for free, whether you're charging for it, that's up to you. But it's how you go about it that matters. We need to move through it, and we need to help each other through it. So just that's the thing. Now back to Tommy's specific question. How do you sell personal development coaches in a niche too broad? Hey, we got to figure out who we're serving. You can't serve everyone, because if you're trying to serve everyone, you can't get the messaging right. Messaging is everything. And so we got to figure out who it is that we're going to serve, so we can have a conversation with them. And I believe that your marketing is a one-on-one conversation. It doesn't mean you're going to have one-on-one conversations, but if your marketing doesn't feel like them going, he's talking to me, she's talking to me, then it's not going to land. That's why it's so important to be sensitive to where your market is, where your customer is, and speak to where they are right now. Have the conversations with them. Be real with them. Be authentic. Have the conversations in a way that they feel cared about, that they feel nurtured, that they feel, because all of that is going to grow, and it's just going to pay dividends. And even if they never ever buy a thing from you, which isn't the goal of it, because you're coming from a place of service. Even if they never ever buy from you, you get the greatest gift that you could ever get, and that is feeling like you served a community in need and a person in need in that moment. And that, to me, that I remember we would do Thanksgiving and Christmas and holiday dinners with the kids from the karate school. We would make the baskets. We would take them to the homes. We never wore our karate school shirts. We didn't give them our names. We just delivered. And the joy that the kids that were doing this felt from just giving a gift to someone else and seeing the response and the reaction of someone in need, that someone cared enough to give, was huge. It's still one of the greatest memories that I have from owning the karate school. And I think this is where we need to be. It's to realize that when we step up with our knowledge, our wisdom, our expertise, the things that we can do, and we show up and we give fully and wholeheartedly of everything we have to be served, that no matter what, we got the gift of knowing that we made a difference. That to me is more than whatever charge you're gonna get through. At some point they may buy from you. You might have an offer from them. That's fine, but come from a place of service first. Come from a place of service first. Hopefully this makes sense to you. Hopefully this helps Tommy in the process. Like I said, I'm going to be in here regularly. I want to have these conversations with you. If you have questions about business, about finance, about your thought leadership, about any of these types of things, let me know. And let me get them out here on a live and do that. I will be posting, I think I'm going to do it on Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening. I'll be doing a Zoom call that you'll all be invited to. I'll post it in here. I'll post it anywhere I can. I'll email my list, and you guys can join me. And I want to give you a framework, because you know me, I'm the framework dude. So I'm going to give you a framework of how to kind of navigate this whole money chaos. But I also want to answer your questions. So if you have questions, I'll open up the lines. We'll have conversation. We'll see what I can do to support you in this journey. Nothing to sell. Nothing to sell, but to serve. That's what it'll be about. All right? You guys keep rocking it. Keep making a difference. Let me know if there's anything I can do. I'd love to help out. Do me a favor, if someone needs to hear this message, let's share it out. Let's get it out. Let's give people some comfort and some calm in these crazy, challenging times, and know that this will pass, that we're going to get through it, and that there are opportunities along the way. Not opportunities to exploit, but opportunities to serve, and in the process we grow and we become better in the process. So I look forward to seeing you in the next live, in the next step, and having conversations with you. Until then, you just take care. You stay safe. You keep your family safe. And know that we're all sending you love from our Casa Abraham. Talk to you soon. Cheers.